Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Professionally Curious. I have challenged myself to interview 100 most insightful founders in crypto, and here we go, joined by my good friend here. My name is Joanna. I'm the co-founder of Soon, and Prabal, co-founder of many things actually. So Avail is the project that he currently is working on. But yeah, let's start with that. Let's talk about your background.
Yeah, I mean, thanks for inviting, and thanks for thinking that I belong to that category. But really, I think I had a very kind of academic background. My journey has been, through and through in academics, and then when I was doing my PhD, I came across blockchains, and cryptography was something that I liked from much before. Mm-hmm. But during my research, I realized that blockchains is something which I can be spending my life on. So that's when I delved into it. I joined Polygon, then called Matic, pretty early in 2020 or so. So then I delved into many different things within Polygon, and while doing that, Avail was one of them. Data availability was one of the core problems that we were trying to solve. The name was decided much later. And
it's a good name.
And then in 2023, we spun out of Polygon just to be credibly neutral and to cater to much broader categories of roll-ups and roll-up infrastructure. So that has been roughly my journey. Happy to go into more details in any one of them.
Yeah. I guess the one question is, how do you feel like some of the early founding stories, either at Polygon or at Avail, if you have to give advice to people who wanted to start their companies, what do you wish that you know at the time?
I mean, many things, right? I mean, one of the qualities that I feel founders need to have is that they need to be extremely convinced about the problem that they are trying to solve. At the same time, they need to be extremely pragmatic about the market and how the market is going to take up their ideas, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of kind of contradictory, but at the same time, if I was starting 10 years back, the journey would have been very different than if I would have started right now, and my journey would never resemble any of the founders at any other point in time, because if you are thinking about industries in a time scale, they are very different in different times of in different periods of time.
Yeah.
And so some people they try to follow playbooks, and they try to follow ideas which have worked for others. I think that of course you should do tried and tested means and so on, but you should not be too much married to that. You need to have your own novelty, you need to have your own stuff. So it's a bit of both, but at the same time, if you're not convinced about the problem that you're solving, then you're never going to be good at it. So you have to be extremely almost paranoid and drugged about the same problem and feeling like it's fully it should engulf you in some sense.
Yeah, for sure. I think you provided a few good pointers when I started Soon. So yeah, I really appreciate that. I think those early design conversations, like the debate on how we should do our architecture design, was really illuminating. So yeah, I mean, based on your experience as a technical founder, I really oftentimes find you maybe a bit of a I don't want to say old school, but it's different from some of the Gen Z founders who are all about yapping, and I remember catching some of your tweets, sometimes getting spicy, but oftentimes pretty calm and collected. So yeah, I guess curious to hear your thoughts on being kind of building a culture within the company that is perhaps, can I say, Avail is still a technology engineer-led company?
No, absolutely. I think, the profile of a company is often dictated by its founders.
Yeah, could be very narrative focused, right? Call leader, KOL types.
Absolutely. And each one of them have their own style. There is no wrong and there's no right. If you succeed, no one is going to question whether you did the right thing. If you fail, no matter what you did, there is no right thing, right? So again, people try to also, be someone that they are not as founders and so on, which is always a tricky thing. Maybe it works for people.
Maybe you can be like a different persona for so many times, but it's hard.
It works. Like, for example, I have been told many times by people internally to the team, like, that I need to be more spicy, that I need to,
You're too humble.
I need to go into fights and so on.
Right.
I don't think I like that. Like, I of course,
you can hire people to do it for you.
I've been told also that you need to do ghostwriting and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like, I can be me, and if that comes in the way of our project being successful, then too sad. Right? I mean, I cannot be unauthentic, and that is something that I don't want to be. And you have your own rules. I mean, there is no right and wrong here, to be honest. But on the other hand, like, being technical has its own challenges. Challenges in a world where you might not be rewarded for thinking sane, you might not be rewarded for thinking logical. There are, and there is nothing wrong about it. Like, at every point in time, you need to have some spice in any industry, and those kind of things come in cycles and such. So, I mean, like, it has its own pros and cons, but I think that me, Anurag, is of course from product. I am more on the research engineering side, and neither of us are, that person which can be too much hot take and so on. So.
Yeah. And I guess, just to go back to like your vision, right? Like when you first started the company, you mentioned that this was incubated by Polygon, because this was one of the hardest problems to solve, right? For Ethereum, for the entire space. And things have changed quite a bit since then. So how does the vision adapt to like the changing landscape, given the competitors, given the other maybe issues coming up as party?
No, I think like there are two ways to spin a story, right? The number one is that I think our core vision has still remained the same. We still believe that like chains need to be horizontally scalable, and no design can be singularly vertically scalable only for it to reach success. And blockchains are going to be no different. This is a fundamental thing that we believe in. This is very different from some of the other peers who feel it. They feel like one single chain can encapsulate all the activity in the world, and all the best to them. Like, do you have to have multiple camps because you cannot put all your eggs in the same basket? Right? So that is one of the fundamental beliefs and vision around which we are building. And then how do you horizontally scale things? Like, what has happened in Web 2 is that you have this services infrastructure. Like, if you have if you find that you have a surge in demand, you actually add more servers. That is how you scale Web 2, right? You do not care, like, as a user, you do not care that you are going for it's a sale season, it's a Black Friday sale, Amazon is scaling up. You don't care, right? I mean, you just go and have the same experience. But Amazon backend engineering team is having a very hard time just to scale things up and make sure that everything remains stable, even under huge amounts of load. And they are spending a lot more on resources than they do on any other day. And after the day is over, they scale it down. This is how horizontal scalable services work, and blockchains are no different. How does blockchains be horizontally scalable? There are two key aspects. One is that you need to be able to spin up more servers. What are servers in the blockchain world? They are rollups. Rollups are nothing but verifiable servers, right? So you spin up more and more of these servers. Each one of these servers become verifiable. That's component one. But if you only do that, that's how things started. That you just create more and more rollups. But when you create that, you see that there's a fragmentation. That user experience is so fragmented that you are having to worry about what chain and the RPC and this and that, and what state is residing where are my balances, where's the money, where's the
all
bridge.
the middleware.
Exactly. And that's where you need to defragment this entire space. So there are two components, and I feel like now that we have abundant scale because of something like Avail and others contributing on the DA side, roll-up infrastructure, services, and roll-up technologies have all matured quite a bit. Now we are seeing the abundance of scale, but we are still suffering from the fragmentation. And that's why we are now trying to solve fragmentation. Once we have that, then we will be able to have horizontally scalable solutions in blockchain space, and with the advent of TradFi and such, who are going to use blockchains as primitives, these are all going to be, commoditized into small boxes as black boxes, which people won't have to care. Just like users don't care about how Amazon works.
Yeah. Well, what is your solution on that? On the defragmentation?
Yeah, I think we are working on Avail Nexus. Nexus is basically a class of protocols on the back end, but it's a simple SDK on the front end. So on the front end side, if you're an app developer, you just import our SDK. It's a 3-line integration. You just integrate it, and users are able to see the unified balance across multiple chains. They are able to deposit and do all actions according to their entire unified balance. So for them, all the bridging complexity and such are completely outsourced. As a developer, you will have full freedom to choose what kind of security you want, what kind of bridging infrastructure you want, what kind of rebalancing, what kind of solver infra, etc., etc. That comes to the developers, because developers are more, educated to have make those choices. They can make informed choices, not the users. Because to be honest, being a user in blockchain is already very hard.
Yeah, we don't want them to get bogged down by all the different choices to make. So is that the understanding, right? That it's like an intent-based solver?
I think it's both. Like both in the sense it has an intent layer and it has a message passing layer. Now, because intents alone cannot work. For intents alone to work, you need very high amount of liquidity and a very complicated rebalancing structures and stuff. So it's a bit of both. And that's why I mentioned that Nexus is a class of protocols. We have different types of protocols depending on what kind of asset you are touching, what kind of liquidity is available, what kind of chains are you talking to, and so on and so forth. So if you are a stablecoin for which Nexus has burning and minting rights, then it can be native cross-chain message passing based. If you have some esoteric asset which Nexus doesn't support, then it will be swapped on the chain which has highest liquidity. If it is some other canonical asset which Nexus has liquidity for, then it will be used if you're done using intents.
Interesting. So so then you will work with all the protocols that. So my understanding, maybe checking my understanding here, is this would be like a developer tool that you offer to all the
dApp developers.
Right, exactly, the dApp developers. But as someone that we work with you for one of our rollups, right, like the SVM BNB chain, like would this be able to implement it on the chain level?
Absolutely. Like with the chain level support, things just become much easier for developers, right? Like when there are two ways to implement cross-chain anything, right? I mean, cross-chain messaging, cross-chain something, but cross-chain actions can be at the protocol level, can be at the application level. At the protocol level, enshrining too much is always problematic. If you enshrine too much at the protocol level, you lose flexibility to the developers. Developers are then going to use non-standard things which are going to be at odds with the protocol. Like for example, and this is nothing wrong about optimistic rollups, but optimistic rollups, the canonical bridge, it's like instant asset goes into it, but exiting takes 7 days. This is
reduce it to 1 day.
But anyway,
generally speaking, yes.
There's a challenge period, like whatever.
Exactly.
You can take 1 hour, you can take 1 day, 7 days, whatever. This is what the protocol allows you. Now, do people actually rely on that? No, because the protocol is so strict. What they do is they use liquidity on top. Right? So all these things are instantaneous, but they are at the application level. Right? So there's the same that is going to happen in the cross-chain world as well. Whenever you have, either if you enshrine it at the protocol level, then everyone can benefit from it. If you make it too strict, then people are going to go to the application level. And we are going to start from the application level. If there is protocol level support, then it will benefit more of the ecosystem.
That's exciting, and this is I know this is being rolled out. We've seen some of the existing materials on this, so very excited to be one of your beta users, alpha testers. Speaking of, so we work very closely with Avail DA for our SVM rollup on top of Binance Smart Chain, and this is the one rollup that's seen a lot of traction. So really appreciate all the good work that we've done on that front.
You guys have one of the better SVM stacks that are out there. If people have to use,
if not the only one.
If not the only one, exactly. I mean, there have been many attempts, but none has been, as successful, or even many have not seen the day of light.
Exactly.
And that's why, huge respect to you guys for being able to ship SVM rollups across the space, across multiple ecosystems. So all the best. I'm just happy that we could help.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll do continuously, work with you guys on all the various, new chains that we were spinning up. So yeah, maybe on that, just curious on your thoughts on your next steps in terms of like how to help with partners. I know we talked a lot about this kind of behind the scenes, but just generally speaking, like what do you think in terms as a DA provider? Like what do you provide outside of the the DA itself? Like what other values do you provide?
I think for chains we have been extremely cautious with what are the partnerships that we announce, because we do not take partners lightly. What we want to do is we want to give them wholesome support about building ecosystems, right?
Yeah.
We do not believe that spinning up a chain and running a sequencer and just having an RPC and being able to deploy applications on top makes you a success. To be able to make success, and you would know much more than many others, is that creating an ecosystem needs a lot of support, a lot of support which goes beyond than using your technology. It's about all the social constructs, all the soft touches which actually make an ecosystem what it is worth, right? So I think we try to help our partners more than just providing best in category DA that we know that we are. We have had multiple partners tell us that we are one of the best across the ecosystem, and we love extending very high quality of developer support for our partners. But that is not what we boast about and where we stop. We actually
you should boast more about that.
Yeah, maybe I can, but the idea is like, even if you have the perfect product, doesn't mean that it is a success, right? That is where we feel like our success is squarely dependent on our partner success. We are not a front-facing product on the DA space. By giving DA, we are giving a service to rollups so that the rollups can succeed for the users, and then the users can bear the fruit, right? So for us to be able to appeal to our users are not directly coming to Avail, they're coming to these rollups of ours, right? So that's why we are heavily invested in the success of our partners, and that's how we feel like that's the playbook that we know. We have done this with DA, we are going to do the same with Nexus
too.
Supporting as many dApps, handholding them, providing them the best user experience that is possible, and then supporting them along the way.
Yeah, I know you didn't mention this, but I know for a fact that you guys are really strong in some of the like emerging markets in terms of DevRel support, which I personally find very valuable, right? So we have a lot of shared interest in those regions when it comes to basically being show up in the same events, like being in the same like hackathon, right? Like helping out with the early kind of discovery phase of these developers.
Yeah, I mean, in the developer support space, I think we have Naruto, who is the reason why I don't need to take hot takes. He does it on my behalf and
quite a bit
company's behalf, so I don't need to do much. I think we have Robin, who does a fantastic job in supporting developers. We have Rishi, we have a host of integration team members who work behind the scenes, not being the face, but making sure that all of our developer support related activities just stick and they just work. So I think a lot of credit goes to the team, really. It's not about us at all.
Yeah, really bode well with our, the fact that we have a lot of emerging developers in emerging markets. So they needed that kind of hands-on support.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a developer and you want just plain simple help about how you should go about in your particular jurisdiction, or if we can help you in any other way, just reach out to her, reach out to us, whoever.
Yeah. So I'm going to close that with the question that I usually ask at the end. It's like, give me like one unique non-consensus insight that, any topic that you think I'm forcing you to be spicy today.
I mean, I don't think I will say something which is too spicy, but at the same time, I think I've been hearing a lot that, scaling is there, that we have reached enough scale, that, we have enough capacity, we have enough block space, we have enough infrastructure of the world, infrastructure is no longer hot, and scale is no longer needed, and applications are the next big thing. I have always believed applications are the biggest thing that will never change, irrespective of whether you have enough infra or not.
Yeah.
So applications are at the forefront. So that's not a spicy take. The spicy take, in my opinion, is that we have a lot of scaling still to do. We are keeping on missing the point that we are building for a market where users are not just the 7 billion or so that who are alive today,
Right.
but it is about every human out there is going to interact with real world information through not just by them but by a series of agents who are working for them. Whether you call them AI agents, whether you call them automation machines, I do not care how you talk about it. But the number of interactions today, it's all about users going and clicking buttons.
Yeah.
It is not going to happen. People keep on saying like, oh, you are generating a proof. Who cares about the proof? Again, it's not the users who are going to care about it. It's the verifiable interactions are the basis on which we are going to create the next wave of internet. And that is why you need a huge amount of scale. You need hundreds of billions of interactions worth of scale for us to position ourselves as the information, society, like information system of the world.
Yeah.
The way we are positioning ourselves as the World Wide Web, the next iteration of it, the Web 3, where all interactions are verifiable. This is only going to be possible when there is so much scale that we do not have today. Even today, when there is a very successful ecosystems, when there is a huge amount of activity happens, we still dwindle down. So we have not been able to reach, the amount of scale that we want. And then, we keep on selling blockchains too much, as I was mentioning to you a while back.
Yeah.
We keep on saying like, blockchains are the next big thing and so on. I think we need to calm that down a bit. We need to sell primitives more than just blockchains and the technology itself. We need to sell the impact that we are making and we are about to make, rather than selling the complexity that we keep ourselves very excited about.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with more. Right? That the whole concept of you got to focus on the application layer. That's why we build a copy trading platform, Simplify. We're doing well with that, like traction wise, 200 million just in the last month. But in terms of like how we can actually build the infrastructure and the application that can attract the next insert number, right? The million number, whatever amount of people, like that takes a lot more research. And again, that goes well with what we were doing. That's why we're all trying to come up with a new design that can actually scale Ethereum properly. So I really appreciate your time today.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
Every time I talk to you, I learn a lot. So appreciate it. We'll see you guys in the next time.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.